Get ready for another Mega Dinosaurs battle.
Smilodon versus a raptor. Utahraptor, to be precise.
You serious?
Ah, yes, totally an incredibly fair fight.
Well, he is the largest. Damn, look at those fangs. They're huge. But look at those talons. They're huge also.
Unfortunately, though, they weren't really used for disaboweling. Now that I think about it, the fight is actually a little bit more fair than you may think.
Although commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger, Smilodon was not closely related to the tiger. Smilodon lived in the Americas during the Pleistocene epoch.
Also lived during the early Holocene epoch. And so there are a bunch of species that lived in different areas.
Around 10,000 years ago.
10,000 years ago, in actuality, it lived until 8,200 years ago, but 10,000 years ago, fine.
Smilodon was very robustly built, with particularly well-developed forelimbs and exceptionally long upper canine teeth. Its jaw had a bigger gape than modern big cats.
Honestly, now that I think about it, in like 99.9% of scenarios, the Smilodon would simply just run away at the sight of the Utahraptor's imposing stance.
And its upper canines were slender and fragile, being adapted for precision killing. S. populator from South America was the largest species at 400 kilos in weight and 1.2 meters in height, and was among the largest known felids.
It could try and incapacitate the Utahraptor with those fangs, but they're a little bit awkward to use.
The coat pattern of Smilodon is unknown, but it has been artistically restored with plain or spotted patterns. In North America, Smilodon hunted large herbivores such as bisons and camels.
And therefore it would really be kind of clueless when it comes to facing the Utahraptor. And like, the Utahraptor is nothing like the Smilodon has ever seen before. Not even a bunch of other terror birds like Titanus, but like, and other herbivores, so it's going to have trouble trying to target the Utahraptor, really.
And it remained successful even when encountering new prey species in South America. Smilodon's thought to have killed its prey by holding it still with its forelimbs and biting it, but it's unclear in what manner the bite itself was delivered. Utahraptor is the oldest known and largest of the dromaeosaurids.
Doesn't mean this cursed scene could exist like that. I don't know what scene this paleodoc is from, but like, I don't really like it.
Utahraptor was what Velociraptor was supposed to be in Jurassic Park.
Wrong. The Velociraptor was supposed to be a Deinonychus.
The real Velociraptor was the size of a turkey. It lived approximately 125 million years ago.
Utahraptor lived 139 to 135 million years ago, 134.6 million to be more specific.
That's a mini T-Rex that lived 125 million years ago. That's a mini T-Rex that lived 125 million years ago. That's a mini T-Rex that lived 125 million.
During the Aptian stage. Utahraptor is known for its powerful jaws and sickle claws. Unfortunately, it was feathered. Feathered dinosaurs are not cool.
Yes, they are. They are majestic. They are cool, and that's that.
Join the gang, get the t-shirt. Please, spare the T-Rex. Please tell me the T-Rex was scaly. Just give me that one dinosaur, please. Just, come on, man.
Good for you, then. T-Rex was mostly scaly, except for a bunch of feathers on the neck when it comes to adults. Yeah. And on the head, on the neck, on the top of them at least, there's going to be a little bit of feathers for adults. For juveniles, they have more coverings, though.
Ah well, InGen can modify the genes, so who cares? If you have the tech to bring back dinosaurs, you have the tech to make feathers go away. Anyway, enough of that. Who would win in a fight? Well, let's find out.
I think you know the answer already, but let's just see what Mega Dinosaurs does in this totally fair fight.
For some stats, Smilodon. Height, 1.2 meters. Length, 2.3 meters. Weight, 400 kilos.
Okay, all of this now belongs to the Smilodon populator, which I assume is going to be there to face the Utahraptor.
Bite force, 300 kilos. Speed, 45 kilometers per hour. Diet, mastodons, bisons, and horses.
And then again, it's not really used to face the Utahraptor. Not like the Utahraptor was used to face the Smilodon anyway, so both of them would be confused. The most realistic scenario would just be both of them just intimidating each other, just going away after that.
Now onto the weapons of Smilodon. Smilodon was around the size of modern big cats.
Yet, previously, you said it was larger? What sort of contradictory statement is this?
But was much more muscular. Smilodon is most famous for its relatively long canine teeth, which are the longest found in the saber-toothed cats, at about 28 centimeters long in the largest species, S. populator.
I'm thinking about it again. When it comes to a 400 kilogram Smilodon facing against a Utahraptor of like half a ton, the Smilodon's density could make the Smilodon's density might actually put it in its favor. It might actually make the Smilodon more favorable.
Now onto the stats of Utahraptor. Height, 1.7 meters. Length, 6 meters.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that it's not considering those feathers that the Utahraptor has.
Weight, 500 kilos. However, the 2001 Kirkland discovery indicates the species may be far heavier than previously estimated. Bite force, I'm guessing more than...
I'm guessing they're talking about the BYUVP 7510-18078 specimen. Man, that's quite mouthful.
Deinonychus, so let's say 850 kilos. Speed, 50 kilometers per hour. Diet, small prey, but also large herbivores.
By the way, as of right now, the Utahraptor is thought to have run around 24 to 32 kilometers per hour at top speed.
Now onto the weapons of Utahraptor. Each inside toe had a large 24 centimeter hooked claw that was controlled by a strong tendon. This claw was held upward when the animal was walking or running.
They were also used for raptor prey restraint instead of just disemboweling. It's now outdated now.
However, when it attacked, the tendon snapped tight and the claw clamped down with great speed and force, slicing deeply into its victim.
Or, more realistically, pin them down, as those sickle claws weren't sharp enough to disembowel.
Recently, Gignac et al. 2010 presented a selection of bite marks to show Deinonychus is capable of deeply puncturing bone with powerful bites. Experiments with modern cow bones suggest Deinonychus needed a whopping 8,200 newtons to puncture Tenontosaurus.
Not like a mob of Deinonychus would want to attack a fully grown Tenontosaurus anyways. Leave that to the Acrocanthosaurus.
Bones, to a degree seen in the fossil remains. Utahraptor also possessed excellent binocular vision and strong arms.
Potentially used to swat the Smilodon and just attack it. Now that I think about it here, would the Utahraptor have any sort of good methods to kill the Smilodon besides the jaws and all that?
Now onto the advantages of Smilodon. Well, not many. This is really a battle of who can get to the neck first. But Smilodon's perhaps a little more accustomed to mauling attacks aimed at the neck. Smilodon's neck itself was much shorter than Utah's and harder to get to. Now to the disadvantages of Smilodon. Well, he was shorter, slightly lighter, and didn't possess massive claws on his feet like Utah.
I feel like the fight could actually go either way here. Either the Utahraptor pins the Smilodon and is constantly thrashes, constantly bites on the Smilodon's neck, and is bleeding the Smilodon out, just choking the Smilodon's windpipe, or the Smilodon can pounce, but like the Utahraptor would be able to just throw the Smilodon off due to its greater size in general. And I don't think there are any parts of the Utahraptor's body for the Smilodon to safely just grapple, climb onto, pounce onto.
Now onto the advantages of Utah.
Oh no! Not the scaly Utahraptor, as you can see here.
He possessed a more powerful bite. He was probably faster and more agile. He's used to taking down massive dinosaurs like Astrodon, albeit in groups.
Here's the problem. Astrodon did not coexist with the Utahraptor. It coexisted with the Acrocanthosaurs, which also coexisted with the Deinonychus.
Now to the disadvantages of Utah. Well, not many. I get the impression that Utahraptor's slender neck would be a very vulnerable area.
That's if the Utahraptor just stands idle, waiting for the Smilodon to just attack its windpipe.
Also, he was perhaps less experienced with mauling the neck and not letting go. Okay, let's fight. The Smilodon and Utahraptor meet at a clearing in Jurassic World.
Now this is the time where these dudes, Smilodon versus Utahraptor, they both just intimidate each other, they circle around each other. They see both their imposing stances. Smilodon leaves first.
Smilodon and Utah are very hungry. Smilodon charges first.
Smilodon charging towards certain doom. Or not certain doom, but like grave danger.
Mistaking Utahraptor for a deer. First mistake.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Well, he's never seen one before. Utahraptor charges also and leaps on Smilodon before he can attack.
If it's to pin the Smilodon down, then sure. I'm guessing the battle would just go as the Utahraptor just thrashing on the Smilodon's windpipe now.
Utah bites Smilodon's face, digging his sickle claws in deep. Smilodon is injured and runs away to recover. Gathers himself, charges again.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
So it's basically now just a fight to the death. But why not just make a disclaimer first? These two creatures are going to fight to the death, and in a more realistic scenario, neither of them would even engage at all.
This time, more cautious. He dodges an attack from Utah and pins him down, biting at his slender neck.
Yet it's not biting on the quote-unquote Utahraptor's neck. This scene is just completely and utterly crazy to look at, man.
Utah claws Smilodon, but the damage is superficial. Smilodon keeps mauling Utah.
Of course, you're now showing a tiger having saber tooth. Here's seeing a Utahraptor. It's like a calling to the Smilodon being called a saber-toothed tiger by the mainstream.
At the neck. Utah gets weaker and dies. Verdict. Well, I made Smilodon win in the animation, but I think Utahraptor would win 70% of the time.
Now that I think about it, this guy actually did a fine verdict when it comes to Utahraptor winning 70% of the time. It's actually quite realistic here. When it comes to facing a Smilodon populator species, the Utahraptor's size advantage is not as noticeable, and the Smilodon's density would mean that the Utahraptor is going to be caught a little bit by surprise.
He's simply larger and more vicious, and 100 kilos heavier. And he's just an old, ancient, vicious dino. But Smilodon's no pushover, and he'd probably kick Utahraptor's ass from time to time.
Not like it coexisted with the Utahraptor anyway. And in most cases, both of them would just not engage, like 99% of the time, like I said earlier. And even then, it would probably not be lethal. Like, they would inflict non-lethal blows, and then just give each other a chance to back off, and then they just back off. Really.
Anyway, which dinosaur battle would you like to see next? Please let me know in the comments below, and I might make it. Until next time, I've been Viral Cura.
Smilodon is not a dinosaur, but okay. Anyways, that is the end of the video, and at first I thought it would be completely and utterly dumb, but now that I think about it, this guy actually did kind of cook, I guess. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy. I'll see you on next. Special thanks to channel members for supporting this channel. It helps out a ton.